Off. Great.
Now we just have to wait for our viewers to come back. But
Yeah, exactly. That's okay. So we're back. We're back. So Earl, you're up if you'd like to be up. Want to take your turn, Earl?
Hey everyone,
There you go.
been quite busy for me the past couple months. Applied to UC Davis PhD program in music composition.
Wow.
I figured that if I want to get bigger films with bigger budgets for live players, I've got to show them that I can handle it. What better way to do that than being in a PhD program where I have access to orchestra, can write for orchestra as well as chamber groups,
Hmm.
and as far as be a part of a team. Or other classmates and professors and such.
Hmm.
So I made the deadline December 1st on that. It was quite gruesome. I had 10 minutes to spare when I submitted everything. I wrote a solo violin piece, very difficult piece in the style of Paganini, God
Hmm.
Save the King. I called it God Save the Negro.
That's a funny one.
Yeah. Um, I had Lee Ziegler. Um,
You might want to tell the people on Mr. Sci-Fi a little bit about yourself since they can't see you.
oh, okay. Good idea. So my name is Earl F. Smith. I am a multi-award winning film composer. I'm also a sound editor, sound designer. Um,
And what about that title might be appropriate?
you're talking about for my violin piece?
Yes, because you yourself are African
Yeah,
American.
I'm a brother. I'm a black guy.
There you go.
I'm actually
actually,
multi.
we are. They can see you now. We're
Oh, awesome.
we're
Ah,
live
Oh,
on.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, my father is black. My mom is Russian Romanian Jew. Uh, and my grandfather is Cherokee Indian. So I'm a weird mix.
wow. Well,
Yeah.
that explains why you're such an interesting guy, so unique.
Yeah.
Actually, it doesn't explain it, but it is actually another layer to you.
Yeah, it's quite yeah, very unique family, very unique history. Anyway, here I am. And so second piece I did for the application, I wrote a choir piece for 4 parts. Some parts are 5-part harmonies, and I did it over one of the last interviews of Martin Luther King before he was assassinated.
Hmm.
And he goes into detail about why he believed in peaceful protest and why it would work. And
Hmm.
then he also talked about the Negroes in the North,
Hmm.
how they were destroying stuff and why he thought they were doing that, and his plan on how to get them involved in the peaceful protest.
Hmm.
So I had that dialogue going over the choir piece. I sang all the harmonies.
Hmm. Wow.
It was a lot of work. Um, so, and then I submitted a short film that I won a world award on or something like that.
Uh-huh. Wow.
So
Good.
I'll just wait to hear back from them. Um, so that was that. As soon as I finished that, I crashed for a few days, about 3 days, and then I got back working on Mark's film. I got the OMF file. I started editing the sound, and so
Mhm.
I've been working on the sound, and in the process, I've got some new ideas on his film, and this kind of sparked as I was working on these other pieces for the PhD program. Um, so I'm excited about actually starting to record. My daughter is playing so much better today from the beginning of when Mark mentioned me scoring the film. So I'm actually glad for the delay in time. Some things is just I just feel like if to put the best foot forward on this film, and a big part of this film is going to be the music and setting the right tone to pull in the audience.
Mhm.
Another film that I was hired for sound design that I've pretty much most I've completed most of about 85% of it. We got to do ADR, so I'll need to schedule that. Drive down to LA for that, but unfortunately, Sacramento, we today we have a 10-day travel ban,
Mm.
and we are on complete shutdown up here now due to the pandemic. Our ERs are over capacity now, so we're kind of getting hit hard over here. I'm
Oh.
just so grateful. It doesn't affect me much, it affect my business much. I'm still able to teach. So money coming in, and on this other film, they've got budget for they're bringing me on for the score. So we're working on contract, and I'm taking the money they're giving me, and I'm gonna put in a little bit of money too, and hire a lot of my friends in LA to try to help out with,
Great.
and just do the fact that I'm blessed. I'm trying to bless others as well.
That's great.
That's about it for me. Happy Hanukkah to everyone. I
Hey.
love how my daughter tries to milk it, wanting to have little Hanukkah presents, and talk about, can I have Christmas presents too?
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
so
a smart lady.
Yeah,
yeah, she's smart.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's about it for me. Just checking in with everyone. Glad to see everyone, and it's so inspiring to check in.
Great. Well, thank you, Earl.
Great
Yay.
news. Yay.
So is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam, or?
Not yet, but I do want to mention that while the other one was down, they were all discussing what was to blame, whether it was a changeling sabotage or Kassane and his army attacking Space Command headquarters.
That's very possible. Yes. So, no.
Also, it could be the Borg. Yes,
Yeah, well, always
definitely.
could be the Borg, sure. So I guess so we'll continue on then. So Stephen, I guess it's your turn. If you want to go take your turn, Stephen, go for it.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hold on a minute. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Just give me a second, please.
Sure.
Just So let's talk before I tell you about myself. What is this podcast? Because I'm new to this. I was referred to by my coach Robin.
Huh. It's not a podcast. We started 27 years ago. Elaine and I started a roundtable for writers, directors, actors, producers, and we ourselves are very active writer producers. And we would meet in person at a restaurant, but then there'd be an email component. So it grew to have many offshoots across the country and thousands of members around the world. And it's just basically to create a supportive atmosphere for people working in the industry. So
well, it's storytellers
right.
and artists helping storytellers and artists,
right, and
without a handout. So
and
there's
then-
no fees, no
yeah.
charges.
And then I have a YouTube channel called Mr. Sci-Fi. So we do a simulcast every Thursday when the in-person table meeting would have been. And so if you just want to introduce yourself and say what you're up to, that'd be great.
No, it's just people. It's like what you're up to, and
Sure, I'm ready now when you guys are.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm ready whenever you guys are.
Yeah, go for it.
My name is Stephen Gaber. It has always been a dream of mine to work in the entertainment industry. As we continue to endure the COVID-19 pandemic, I realize streaming is the future. I am interested in learning about the careers in the streaming industry. While I don't have many computer skills, I am an outgoing personality with abundance of creativity. Those are admirable traits. I hold a BA from Cal State Northridge and currently work at Trader Joe's. I would be interested in networking with your group in your diversity department, as I have high functioning autism. I currently work on a travel blog as well as a YouTube channel. And let me tell you a little bit about my travel blog. It's called Stephen Gaber, the Autistic Traveler, where I talk about my travel stories. And I'm basically the star, and I talk about all the things that go on in particular cities.
That's great. That's great.
And I'm hoping to become famous because of it. And I've also done stand-up comedy.
Great. Well, you're doing great. So David Bartlett, who's on the screen as well, he can, when we're done here, he can coordinate with you to kind of get you onto the table email, because what you can do with that is anything you want to know about, or if you have something you want people to check out, like your blog or whatever, that you can put a link to it, and people can, you can send one message that goes out to all several thousand members, and that can be very helpful.
I'm interested once COVID is over, and because I live in Irvine, I used to live in the San Fernando Valley, but now I live in Irvine, so I'd like to network in the Orange County industry, film
Okay.
industry,
Sure.
or at least find people who are either involved with autism or
Yeah.
media down there.
Yes. Yes. Well, again, there'll be table members who can be of great use in that arena. So David, you guys can exchange information, and
Which Dave?
David Bartlett,
Bartlett.
David Bartlett, right over. Well, I'm pointing at the screen, which isn't going to be helpful to you, but
No.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
so what do I need? So what do
Mhm.
I need to do exactly? And do I need to be here for the
I
whole
just-
meeting? Or
No.
I just put my email on the chat, and you can email me, and we can get in touch that way, and I can let you know about the table email and all that stuff.
Great.
so
Yeah.
so do I need to be part of the meeting, or do I
No, I mean, basically we meet every Thursday, and when the pandemic's over, we'll meet at the restaurant again. And that's for people who want to meet in person. And we usually, when the restaurant, we usually get about 50 people. On this, we get, around 20 or 40, something like that, depending on what people are doing. And
I hear it's in Sherman Oaks where unfortunately I live in Irvine, so I won't be able to go there.
yeah, but the the table email, you'll get emails from the other members, and you'll be able to
And
post
they're
there.
all
And you don't need to come to meetings for that at all.
They're all across the country.
They're all around the world.
Yes, they're all around the world.
Yeah.
And we may do an aspect of this ongoingly because
Elaine
this
might.
way.
That's my grandma's name, Elaine.
That's
Oh,
great. Well,
really?
I think it's a different person, but
Because-
This is not my. What town do you live in, you guys?
we're in West Hollywood. We're in West
Oh,
Hollywood.
that's true. I mean, I don't want to live in West LA because the traffic's just terrible.
No, I agree.
I mean, I'd rather live where I'm at, or when I lived in like Calabasas, I always wanted to live in. I always wanted to work between Thousand Oaks or North Hollywood, maybe Hollywood,
Yeah.
or downtown, like never West LA because the traffic's just terrible.
No, it's funny because I grew up in Los Angeles, and when I was a kid, it didn't used to be like that. It didn't used to be gridlock, but now anytime from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., you're screwed if you're on the west side. You can't, it's just
Well,
nothing moves.
We had somebody coming to visit us for dinner from the west side coming to West Hollywood, and they telephoned us and they said, I'm halfway there and I have been sitting at this light for it has changed 4 times and nobody has moved. It's that crowded.
Yeah.
And they said, I'm not going to make it. And
No.
we said, okay.
Yeah.
Forget it.
So no, I
So-
agree with you. So, but David, connect up with David Bartlett, and he'll explain how you can sign up. And I think you'll find it a very useful resource.
So what do you do exactly? What do you do exactly, Elaine? What was your name again, sir?
I'm Mark. Elaine and I created the table. We run it. And we're writer, producer, directors. We have our own studio. David runs our physical studio. We've done hundreds of hours of network TV, many science fiction shows, so we, and we've had best-selling books as well. So and one that I'm writing now. So we've been in this. I've been a professional writer since I was 19. So that was 123 years ago. So
Well, I don't know what career path I want to go into, but I know I want to be like something to do with me and like making myself like big. I'm a good performer because I make people laugh and I'm good at telling like my stories. I mean, I just dropped an acting class because even though I didn't necessarily dislike it, it wasn't like I never been like serious about it.
No, you want to find what you're passionate about, because if you're passionate and if it gives you joy, that's what to pursue. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I never knew what really to pursue. I tried do you know rotoscoping by any chance?
Of course.
I tried that, and while I would do it, the class was too fast and I wasn't going to go anywhere, but I would have definitely loved to continue that, but that's not like a passion though.
No, the things you've been talking about, the things you're doing sound like the right path. I mean, it's definitely
I just need to find support to get there because, and now that I don't live in LA anymore, even without COVID, it's still a hassle.
I think the table, our group will be of great use to you. So just afterwards, we're almost done. Elaine's going to take her turn, and then I'll take my turn, and then.
Sure, I'll just email you. And then really nice meeting you, Mark. Can I email you too once I get the list?
Sure, you bet, of course. Yes. Okay, great. Well, good meeting you, Stephen. Yay! 3 cheers. So Adam.
Bye.
Oh, bye. Adam.
Bye.
Is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Not a question per se, but going back to Captain Shannon Murphy's earlier question,
Yes.
she has a post brainstorm update. She says, I do know that I'll be basing the lead captain off myself, Southern drawl included. I'm trying to decide what premise my Trek series should be set around and time frame. How should I go about deciding that?
It depends on the purpose of what you're doing. If you're writing it just for yourself, then just write whatever the hell you want to write. If there's an audience you have in mind, that can guide you. Again, I would look toward stories they haven't done, settings they haven't used. I mean, it's for instance, when we did the Captain Sulu episode, we actually developed a Captain Sulu series, and that was going to take place in a quadrant of space. It was basically after the fall of the Klingon Empire, and we now have access to that area. We're helping the Klingons shore up their infrastructure, and they've in turn they're allowing us to explore their area of space, which we've never been to before. And so that was a very interesting idea. And the characters were characters you had never seen before in Star Trek other than Sulu. And so that was fun. So mainly,
So I think with theme, you want to look to what's important to you.
yes.
And like we have a theme when we're doing Space Command, we've got a theme for each piece. And the first one is about we have one that's about the quality of forgiveness. We have one that's about war is not a very good idea.
Right. The theme should never be stronger than character. It's all about the characters and the story told through them.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I would
But it's
suggest.
like, what issues are important to you, and how do you see them touch your life and the life of your friends?
Right. And so Elaine, it's your turn now.
Oh, wait, what about
what? We've done everybody. Oh, there's Gino.
Gino.
He looks like a chair.
Gino?
Gino, are you there? Are you there, Gino?
Hello, Gino?
No, it's just an empty chair. It's a cruel joke. So, okay, take your turn, Elaine. Take your turn. Maybe Gino will materialize.
Yes,
we'll find out.
hopefully.
Your turn. Go for it.
Go for it. Okay,
You're not
so
walking the dogs. Go for it.
I actually got back from the dogs, and then I got back from feeding the dogs.
How are you doing? What do you need?
Well, just as things start to creak open, although then they creaked back closed, just trying to get as well as working with Space Command, although Mark is the engine that drives it. And I'm doing little bits and pieces there, and just trying to get some of my work, my current work out there. So I'm talking to my DP and so forth about, shooting a Voiceless Roar, which is one of my pieces.
It's a feature.
It's a feature.
And Barbara Bain is now reading the script to consider a role. And
yes.
Go on.
Yeah. So we got and we sent off something.
No, keep going.
In terms of the Africa project to a producer who through what's the name of the program, through
Inktip.
Through Inktip, for somebody who wanted something set in Africa. So we'll see if that one works. But just getting my stuff out there again as people are allowed to wake up again from this pandemic.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's about it for me. It's just starting to poke my way out of the. Oh, hello.
Yeah. Gino's back.
There's
but
Gino.
Go ahead, Elaine. Anything you need?
No, there's nothing I need right now. I'll probably be doing a reading of some of my stuff, but nothing I need right now. It's just great to have you all there.
Yay. Cheers. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes. This is, where was it? There it is. We have a question from Ivan Vukika.
Sure.
I hope I got that right.
I think it's pronounced Krug.
Krug.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So the question is, do you think there will be a chance to visit the set after the pandemic as a backer? Which I actually just looked this up beforehand, and Ivan, you are indeed a backer with a, I believe, a walk-on role credit. And I know David Bartlett can speak to this more detailed, but we are holding on to the records of all of our Kickstarter backers that got on-set type perks. And we are keeping track of those. And once everything, once the pandemic settles down, we can start having people. We are definitely planning on fulfilling those.
Okay. Funny, you should mention that because we were talking about that exact perk about 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And there's a chance that coming up here in January, we're going to shoot. Mark has a collection of spacesuits. So we're going to set up our green screen and we're going to shoot many people in spacesuits doing different things to plug into different places throughout the series.
That'll be
and
fun.
That's an opportunity right there, possibly for people. And then
Yeah.
we'll be having other things coming up as well. We have a scene that takes place in a hospital, another scene that takes place in a cafe, and then there's a corridor scene, and there's lots of opportunities for people to do walk-ons there. So yeah, they're coming up.
There's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening. So great, terrific. But yes, absolutely. Once the pandemic's over, we're going to, have a lot of opportunities to meet and greet and talk and have our red carpet premiere at the Chinese theater and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great.
And
so,
it's Vuchika, by the
there
way.
you go.
Ivan Vuchika.
That's terrific.
There we go.
So now it's Gino's turn. Go for it, Gino. We were just going to have the chair take a turn, but you showed up.
Good. Hi, folks. Oh, well, you guys know what I do. So just coming in to be with everybody tonight.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So anything you need?
Not right now. I'm good.
Yay, cool. Yay. short and sweet. So, is there any more Mr. Sci-Fi questions, Adam, or I'll take my turn?
I think, you can go ahead and take your turn. Thank you to all the Mr. Sci-Fi people for joining us.
Yeah.
Great, terrific. So it's me, wonderful me. Yay. So yes, things are very, very busy. I reached the halfway point in the new book I'm writing, which is called Green Lighting Yourself. And it's about how you can do stuff like what I've done. And it's already sold. My publisher, Silman James, who publishes the Twilight Zone Companion, will be publishing that as soon as I finish. And it's coming along great. And meantime, we're doing post-production, the visual effects on the second hour of Space Command, and we're working on the third hour in post, and we started shooting the fourth hour. So not including the 2-hour pandemic episode that we released a few months ago. So we now have a link where you can instantly download commercial-free the first hour. You can also pre-order Blu-rays and DVDs and all sorts of stuff of the completed 2-hour pilots. So it's very exciting. And meantime, I also wrote a short story about my character in Space Command, the grizzled space jockey. So I'm going to be reading that on Mr. Sci-Fi, and Dave, you'll be helping me with some visuals. And it's going to be terrifically fun. And beyond that, we're working on the Showrunners Network and moving ahead on that. And I'm rearranging my library and finding a lot of stuff that I didn't remember that I had. So here's another thing I can show. This is an evening's menu for the Lusitania from 1914. This is the ship that was sunk and started America's entrance into World War I. And it says what's being played by the orchestra, the Lusitania Orchestra, what events what they were playing through dinner, and the food that was available, and so forth. They were playing Val's Trieste, among other wonderful little, the Bolivian Bomb Dance, which was performed by Miss Maisie King and Mr. Michael Donlin. So boy, that was not to be missed. So, and then beyond that, it's just amazing to be putting Space Command together and, finding ways to make things work. And it's always every shot. I was watching the first hour, just reviewing it, since we're going to be just, selling the downloads now for just $5.99. Pretty great. But just seeing how every single shot was a journey. And Dave and David, and everyone who's worked on Space Command, they know that every shot, it was like, okay, how do we make this one work? Oh, that version doesn't work. Okay, let's make this happen. Then let's do this. Everyone was like ingenuity and just attention to it. And there are still a million things I'd like to continue polishing, but again, you just can't. And then also I've been in communication with Guillermo del Toro. Guillermo was under lockdown, as we all were, but he's finished Nightmare Alley, which is his new film, which is a remake of the Tyrone Power noir film, and it'll star I think Bradley Cooper and Cate Blanchett. So that may be interesting, though very dark, I'm sure. But yeah, so for me, I don't really need anything. I just if anyone wants to maybe come some weekend and help me, carry boxes out of here and put them in the garage, that'd be great, because I'm clearing stuff out and clearing, space, and and alphabetizing my science fiction books, which is something I've wanted to do for a long, long time. And it's just very, very fun. It's all a stroll down memory lane. This is an interesting thing. This is something I just acquired. This is a book from 1956. It's called Tomorrow's World, covers by Ed Emshwiller, and it's written by a guy named Hunt Collins. Now, that's not a name that anyone would particularly recognize, except that it's a pseudonym for a writer who became very famous in mysteries named Evan Hunter. And he also wrote under the pseudonym Ed McBain. And so it's really fun to find a science fiction novel that he wrote. It's dedicated to his wife and his kids. And it's about a future society where everyone uses drugs all the time, and they have vicarious, they live vicariously through their entertainment feeds, and they're not connected to reality at all. So it sounds exactly like what we're living through now, most of us. And but it's just fun to find this on. I mean, eBay is really a fascinating source for entertaining things. So that's about it for me. As we said before, we'll be here next Thursday, Christmas Eve, and that will be quite lovely. And also Angelique, who's a member of our Space Command cast and a favored member of the table, she will be singing a couple of Christmas songs that we're going to be putting on Mr. Sci-Fi, and that's going to be really, really fun. So that's about it for now. Anyone need anything else? I think we've covered a lot of
I was just gonna say one other quick thing. Fabian and Marie Calendars says hi to
Oh,
everybody.
good.
Oh,
We'll
wow.
definitely say hi to him if you see him, and hopefully Marie Calendars will be there when we get back to it. So
I know, right?
let's hope. Let's hope. A lot of restaurants have closed, and
Some
so.
of our favorites.
But
yeah.
I think
Right.
2021 is going to be a lot better than 2020. I think it's going to be a really good year in many, many, many ways, and I have great hopes for it. And I'm grateful to all of you, both my table friends and my Mr. Sci-Fi friends. It's nice to have something that keeps us tethered to each other and to the world. And I'm very glad that we all take this journey ongoingly, because this in microcosm is what we want the world to be in macrocosm, and it is. So there we go.
Thanks for the input, guys. On the Mac, I seem to be up and running, or at least
Wow, look at that. Yeah. And again, Dave each week talks about how he's looking at a screen above, in editing. It's not true. He's always looking at the Lord. He prays constantly. He said he simply tells people he's an atheist because he's antisocial and he doesn't want to have to talk to people. But he has a deep, deep faith in the Lord Jesus.
actually, just to be a little more specific, I don't want to talk to some people.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
not saying who.
Now, actually, a very good Mark Zickery trivia question, which some of you will know the answer to, but most of you won't, is what's the first pilot I ever wrote? Does anyone know the answer to that? Nope. Okay, the answer is when I was a teenager, I wrote a pilot about Jesus coming back and hitting the road with a Native American, and it was called The Fighting Messiah. And I think that's still got legs. I think we should do that one.
Hey.
That probably explains why no one's heard of it
Yeah, it was sort of like Kung Fu meets.
or knew about it.
Yeah, I'd watch that show. I'll tell you. I mean, The Fighting Messiah. Give me a break. I mean, it was road trip. Very fun. I should dig that thing out. It's somewhere around here. So
It'll kill in the South.
it will. So I'll tell you another great
Or
thing.
get you killed in the South.
This is actually a funny story. When I listened to that pedophile thing, the Christmas Story from 1930, the little girl was played by Betty White. So I looked it up to see if it was our Betty White, because she was certainly old enough to have been that little girl. It turns out she wasn't. But I read her Wikipedia entry, which is fascinating. And she created and produced her own TV shows in like the early 50s. And on one show, she had a black actor who was a regular on the show. And so she got pressure from the network because of the Southern stations to like fire that guy. And she said her public statement was, "We're keeping him, get used to it." So that's great. That's great. So she's been wonderful always. So that's about it. Yeah,
I'm just wondering if Dave could tell us what solved the problem in case anybody else has the issue.
Sure. Go for it, Dave.
Yeah, I tried the preferences, resetting the preferences.
Wow.
And it strips down a little bit of the project. I have the program. I have to reset a few things, but it's up and running.
Good for
Wow,
you.
Great,
Good for
okay.
you, Dave.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
The simple stuff sometimes works.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, thanks very much. I have another call, so I will. So this is actually a Bluetooth, and so I can actually make real phone calls on this thing. So pretty hilarious. So great. Well, until next time, guys, we'll see you next week, and stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks, guys. Another great evening. Bye.
And I won't be seeing you next week. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, everyone.
Merry Christmas, Adam.
Yeah, and I'll see you on what is it?
Next year.
Yeah, next year.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Thanks for your work.
Enjoy.